opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. What is up, everybody? Welcome inside a Friday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends. Going to put them over in the top right-hand corner of the screen so you know where to go if you are in the market for a new or used vehicle. Hold on. Going to bump them up. Right now. There it is. Boom. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I feel like Gone Man. And boom. Touchdown. There it is. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. We do it with player profiles, coaches' corners, interviews from around the community, all the best athletes and coaches that you want to hear from your favorite sports teams. We got you covered here on Running Point, just like Greenwood has you covered if you're in the market, once again, for a new or used vehicle. Or they have a wonderful service department, too. If your car is in any need of some nice service, Greenwood Chevrolet's got you covered there, too. You'll hear from them a little bit later on in the show. You'll also hear a player profile, football edition, a little bit later on in the show. We're going to go back in Boardman and going to play a player profile from Keith Smith from Boardman. It's a great interview that we were able to get, and we're going to be able to feature that on today's show, as well as go over all the games that are going to be happening tonight. And, of course, we always start with recapping the night before. So what we're going to do, we're going to waste no time because we have a lot to get to. We're going to pop up the scoreboard here on YSNLive.com, the scoreboard on YSNLive.com. And it is proudly presented by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. The YSN scoreboard is a great tool for the YSN fans, whether you're at one of the games or watching one of our broadcasts, or maybe even both. We would love it if it was both. You don't want to look away from the action for too long, right? So the YSN scoreboard is a great, easy, and quick being the very key word there, quick way to get live updated scores. You don't have to look around. You don't have to search. You don't have to, scroll through a page. You just go right to the link and just boom, right there. I know it's just Thursday right now, but tonight, for example, it'll be updated. You'll be able to go right to Friday. So that is a very fun and quick way to get live updated scores of your favorite teams across the YSN family, whether it be your best friends, maybe your heated rivals. You just want to know what's going on, right? So the YSN scoreboard's got you covered there. YSNLive.com/scores is where you can find it, and it is presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Let's get into it. Thursday, September 12th, 2024. We had one football game on the network last night. Chris Sigler and Gary Burton both on the call, and what a wild fourth quarter this was. This was a fourth quarter that just got sloppy and wild and nutso, turnovers everywhere, and both these offenses are so used to scoring more points. But the turnovers late really hurt that whole idea. Beaver Local East Liverpool playing a defensive grudge match. And it is the Potters that come away with the win. Blue beats red this time around. 14-9, the final score there. East Liverpool over Beaver Local. What a great win for the Potters over the rivals. Beaver Local has had the edge in that matchup of the last couple years. So East Liverpool getting the dub, making it feel like a rivalry again. Good job to the Potters. We go into volleyball. Mohawk got the win last night over in PA 3-0 over Beaver Falls. Edgewood gets the win over Conneaut in straight sets. Ashtabula St. John still undefeated on the season. They get the straight set victory 3-0 over Fairport Harding. And then we scroll over and we see that Perry, they got the win over Hawken, 3-1, your final score there. Jefferson went on the road to rival Lakeside, got the 4-set victory over the Dragons. Austintown Fitch does a clean sweep of the Tigers in the AAC, and then also in the AAC, Canfield with a clean sweep of Boardman. Both teams playing each other in AAC play next week, Thursday. That is not a matchup you're going to want to miss because they look poised for a clash. They look poised for this is going to be first place. The other teams that were going to challenge them, Howland and Boardman, they've both now played Fitch and Canfield, and Fitch and Canfield have taken care of them both. So now you got it locked up, right? Battle of the Birds on Thursday. Everything's going to come down to that. It's in Canfield to start. That's a big advantage for the Cardinals being in their home gym to start that big clash. Champion gets to win over Newton Falls in straight sets. The Flashes have a good week. Same thing with Columbiana. They get the win in straight sets over Southern Local on the road. Crestview goes on the road. They beat Liberty in straight sets. I'll talk a little bit about that one when we're done with the scores because I was there. Garrettsville Garfield bounces back, gets a win on the week over Brookfield 3-1, the final score there. Brookfield took a set that was 30-28. Good fight from the Warriors, down 2-0. Lakeview, they deal with a scrappy and defensive Hubbard team, but eventually gradually worked their way through it in a sweep. Every set got a little bit more and more separation. 25-20, 25-16, 25-13. Bulldogs cruise to another NE8 sweep. Latonia and Wellsville all over this one in a straight sweep. Badger, same story. They get the sweep over Bristol. McDonald gets the 3-0 win over Lowville in the MVAC. McDonald still unbeaten on the year. Middle Ridge goes into Jackson Milton and gets the straight set sweep over the Blue Jays. South Range makes it a perfect week. They are 3-0 on the week as they beat Niles at home. It was also staff appreciation night for South Range. This is the first time the Raiders have been able to do that as a program. So bravo to them for recognizing the wonderful teaching staff at South Range. They welcome them with a win over Niles, 3-0, the final score. Pontoon Valley beats Lordstown in straight sets. Camel beats Sebring in straight sets. We go on to Southeast Liberty. The Pirates all over it with a 3-0 win over the Leopards. Springfield and Western Reserve playing probably the most competitive matchup of the night. 3-2, it goes 5. The Tigers escape Berlin Center and keep the win. They also keep pace in that conference. They're just one game back, still waiting for that second matchup with McDonald to pop up so they can try to snag that tie if they're able to keep keeping pace. Struthers got the 4-set victory over Poland on the road, 3-1 the final score there. On the other side of the EOAC, United gets to win 3-0 over Valley Christian. Ursuline goes on the road to Cheney and gets to sweep in the Steel Valley Conference. And then Mooney's tough week continues as they fall in a heartbreaker 3-2 over Warren JFK. Does not get any easier for Mooney. They have to go to Crestview on Monday as they try to avoid, what would be a fourth straight loss for the Cardinals. They went 0-3 this week. Tough opponents, Fitch, Howland, and JFK. Of course, that's going to really sharpen their teeth, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a skid for Mooney. They're going to try to keep their heads up and keep momentum rolling as they go into another tough week of volleyball ahead. We'll go right into boys soccer. The results from last night. Beaver gets to win over Elwood City, 8-2, your final score there. Mohawk falls to Quaker Valley, 10-0, a tough one for the Warriors. Boardman edged by Warren Harding, 4-2 on the road. While Canfield and Howland do battle inside the conference and it won't scroll over. Come on. There we go. And it's all howling 7-0, the final score there over Canfield. West Branch gets the win over Columbiana 6-1, the final score there. Louisville falls to Highland 1-0, the final score. CVCA gets the 1-goal victory over Orange 2-1, the final in that one. Orange AFK and Mooney doing some. See, it's doing that again where it won't go all the way over. There we go. 8-1, Mooney gets the win over Warren JFK. Over there on the other side of the scoreboard, we have Badger getting the win over Pymatuning Valley, 5-0. Grand Valley edged by Bristol, 4-3. Edgewood falls to Harvey, 10-0. Girard falls to Hubbard, 4-1. South Range and Lakeview, it is Bulldogs with a 3-0 win. Poland all over Niles, no harm there, 9-1. Bulldogs roll. And then Notre Dame Cathedral Latin with a 1-goal victory over Salem, 2-1 the final score. Girls soccer side, last but not least on the scoreboard, we have Beaver getting the 3-1 win over South Park. United falls to Rootstown 1-0. That's a tough one for the Eagles. They were flying high this week. Edgewood falls to Grand Valley 3-1. Pymatuning Valley gets beat by Badger 4-1. We look over on this side. Perry, they fall to Mentor 4-2. Kirtland and Orange tie at 0-0. So a good one for Orange there to force the Mighty Hornets into a draw at no score. Madison gets the win over Jefferson 9-0. Waterloo, they're all over Brookfield 8-1. Crestview falls to Southeast 3-1. Newton falls to Garfield 2-0. And then Bristol beats LeBray 5-1. Last but not least, Warren JFK with a shutout of Springfield 6-0, the final score. So I do want to talk about the volleyball game I was at, Crestview and LeBray. This was Crestview's final game of the week and the last one in their MVAC first swing of the conference. So they've played everyone once now. In the last week, it was really the top two teams behind them in the MVAC. So a tough way the schedule worked out where both those teams pop up back to back, but Crestview handled it. Garfield was the one that gave them a lot of trouble in the first set. Remember, they were up 15-14. Crestview controlled that match from then on out. This one, the scores were all Crestview. I'll tell you that. 25-11, 25-12, 25-13. The scores tell you, Crestview was dominating. But really, if you watch the volleyball and you watch the tape, there were a lot of points that LeBray worked hard and volleyed and went back and forth. And just Crestview got the point. This was a very tougher match, I think. And Coach Hauer will say it too. A very tougher match than I think the scores say. And I know a lot of times people say that just to blow smoke up at the other team's butt, saying, hey, you did really good. You were competitive, even though they lost, pretty handily. That's not what I'm doing to LeBray. They were definitely outmatched. Crestview was definitely just the better team. But at the same time, and I told Coach Kitch this afterwards, I said, you worked your butt off. There were a lot of plays that, if it goes your way, maybe these sets aren't so far away. I think LeBray could have had one set at least at 25, maybe 25, 17, 18. Because I think the second set was the one they played the best. But then Crestview, what they do so well is they don't budge, right? There's never a moment in the match where it felt like Crestview was on a waver or they were going to lose focus. Even when LeBray was making little runs, they did have a couple of runs. LeBray had one 4-0 rally in the second. They also had a 3-0 rally in the second to make it 10-8. So you felt like, okay, LeBray, they're fighting, but Crestview they keep coming at you relentlessly, and it's so hard to keep playing at that level of volleyball it takes to beat them consistently. LeBray, you could see the pieces there. You could see, okay, you can play with them for a little bit. You can be there for a little bit, but they wear you down. And I think the other thing that people don't give Crestview enough credit for, and this has nothing to do with really the coaching staff has control over it because they put the idea in there, but the on the fly adjustment without timeouts, just being able to move and see where to hit the ball based on the defense, because LeBray was moving quite a bit, especially the libero. Chloe Sanderson is really good at trying to find those angles and try to take away what you're doing best. And every time I thought she made a really good adjustment on where Abby Imps was going, and then all of a sudden Abby Imps just switched up her game and hit it somewhere else. And I actually was right behind LeBray's bench, and I heard a conversation between Chloe Sanderson and Coach Kitch that just made me chuckle, because it was just like, well, that's Abby Imps. Because Chloe, who is a very high IQ libero that knows what she's doing back there, she was trying to get some advice, like, Coach, I keep moving, but she keeps finding other angles, and then the coach just kind of shrugs and says, well, she's good, and that's really all you can do, because Abby Imps was hitting every shot. I think she had maybe one attack error all night. It was definitely typical Abby Imps. Actually, I should say above typical. Abby Imps brought her. This was her A game. I thought Garfield maybe like B minus. It wasn't all there, but it was enough, and then she still found a way. Like I said on yesterday's show, or I should say Wednesday's show, found a way to get to 19 kills because she's just that good. But I don't think like it was her grade A performance. She was getting hands on blocks a lot, things like that. You're really nitpicking when you're talking about Abby Imps and her game. And this one against LeBray, I thought like, oh man, Abby is just drilling it, and she's making those adjustments to the back row. She's back row swinging. She hit from everywhere really well. She almost never missed her spot, even though like there are sometimes, and this is once again nitpicking on the level of volleyball. There are times, and you'll see this in college coaches, they'll pick this apart too, where, okay, it's not an error in the stat line, but it's not where you wanted to go with the ball. And that can happen too. And that's something that I thought in Tuesday's night's matchup happened a little bit with Abby, where it's like you'd want her to go here, but she doesn't see the right angle and she goes somewhere else and gets dug a little bit, because Garfield was getting, like I said, hands on the ball, and they were digging pretty well. So was LeBray, by the way. Um, but I think this night, Abby was just finding the angles, making the adjustments throughout all three sets. You saw pretty much a game from Abby Impton last night, which is the last thing LeBray wanted. I mean, LeBray would have loved if Abby Impton brought like her C game, but that never happens, unfortunately, for LeBray. But I was really impressed with LeBray. I made it a point to tell Coach Kitch after. I said, you're going to win a lot of volleyball games playing like that. They are very good. They're very active. They're very energetic. They move really well. They read the ball well. I like the team energy. I liked the never giving an inch to Crestview energy wise. If you just watched the volleyball and never looked at the scoreboard and the way that LeBray was reacting to timeouts in between sets, you would have never known that they were down 25-12, 25-11, 25-13. That would not be the case. So I like this team. I like LeBray. I think they're off to really good things, and luckily for them, they have a lot still in front of them. They're really looking forward to the second matchup with Garfield. I was talking to Coach Kitch, and she's like, really feel like we let that one get away. So she wants that second matchup with Garfield, which will come up very soon. I think it's pretty early in their MVAC second half slate. So road trip to Garfield in the cards very soon for LeBray, and they're looking forward to that. And then they'll give Crestview their best shot the next time they play each other in Crestview. That's for sure. We'll see. I think Crestview would have to have an off night for LeBray to have a chance, but we'll definitely see what the Vikings can do. They're not going to back down. That's the one thing that I like. So I liked seeing from both Garfield and LeBray this year, more so than I think even last year, with teams that were right there in second place in the MVAC, where there's not intimidation anymore. It's just, we're going to come right at you with our Bez. And yeah, Crestview's really good. Sometimes if they're on their best, our best isn't good enough, but we're not going to stop. And I like seeing that. I like seeing that from these teams. That's going to help them out a lot in tournament time, playing teams that are really good in the bracket. So really liked what I saw from, once again, LeBray, Crestview what more can you say? They're unreal right now. Their volleyball program is on cloud nine, and there's not much more you can say to that, right? There's just one of those things. All right, let's get off the scoreboard here. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have a player profile for football with Keith Smith from Boardman. We're going to play that for you on the other end of this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Running Point always brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends that you just heard from in that commercial break, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we continue to do that today with a player profile football edition, because it is Football Friday, right? So we're staying with football, and it is Boardman football being featured today. It's Keith Smith from the Spartans. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I enjoyed doing it. It's a great kid. He's a great athlete, and a great conversation with him. So here is that player profile featured on today's episode. Anthony Hartwig here with another Boardman football player profile. We're joining into the Spartans with senior Keith Smith. Keith, thank you so much, buddy, for coming on and talking to us about your senior season.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So it's your senior year. What is it like kind of coming into it, knowing that this is your last go? This is your last chance.
It's sort of bittersweet. Like, I'm glad it's my last year, but at the same time, it's my last year playing football with all of my friends and stuff like that. You know, I'm going to miss it, but it's taught me a lot.
It seems like everyone comes in the senior year with some goals, some things they want to accomplish before they leave. What were some of your goals, some of the things that you wanted to do before your senior season was over?
I just wanted to leave an impression on, like, my underclassmen.
Talk about leaving an impact on this team. What is the impact you wanted to leave? What is that impression that you wanted to leave on the underclassmen?
Just good leadership. I don't think the class before me did a good job, so I just want to be a good leader and show what a good leader really is.
So next year or in a couple of years, when we ask the underclassmen, when they come on their player profiles, and we ask them what kind of teammate Keith Smith was and what kind of things they taught them about leadership, what do you think you hope their answers would be?
I would say positivity. Like, I've been a real positive player. I always try to keep my teammates up, even when, you know, we're down and stuff like that. I just try to keep the emotions up and stuff like that.
When people have that attitude, it comes from somewhere, right? So where does that positivity come from for you? Who taught you how to be that positive person?
My mom, for sure.
What are some things that you think she's instilled in you, some advice that she's given you that have driven you towards that attitude?
Well, ever since I was little, my mom always taught me to be like the sportsmanship, stuff like that. Always be nice. Even though it's football, you have to be hard sometimes. You also got to know when to chill out, you know, the sportsmanship, keep your head up, stuff like that.
Talk about walking that line, right? You just said it. Football, you got to be hard. You got to hit people. Your job is to kind of, you know, be a little bit tough, but you also got to be a good sportsmanship. So what's it like for you walking that line?
It's hard, you know. It's always hard walking that line, always be the best you can, walking that sportsmanship, you know. It's hard to keep your head up sometimes, but, you know, you have to push through. Like football, it's hard.
Like the two other teammates that we've interviewed today, you are a multiple sport athlete, but you're the only one that we've interviewed so far that's coming from the track team. So what's it like for you to be able to, I'm sure, condition yourself with your legs and your athleticism and your agility with the things that you do in track?
Yeah, I only do track for football. It's just to build up my speed, you know, build up my endurance. That's the only reason I do it.
What do you think it gives you? Like, what do you come out of the track season with that you think that really helps you going into football season?
I think it really helps my stamina. You know, being able, since I play offense and defense, I'm a starter on both. It really helps me staying on the field longer without getting as tired.
You know, it's early in the year, but we've already seen in the games that we've been able to cover just a different attitude, a different chemistry with this team. You're in the locker room every day. What do you attribute that to? What's become the difference in this locker room and this chemistry and this personality of this team?
I think this year we have stress like this ain't no game. Like last year, people would laugh, giggle, all that type of stuff in the locker room. This year, like, that's the end. Like, this is football.
We've talked about your personal goals that you want to accomplish this year, but what have been some team goals that this team has set? They want to make sure that this gets done this year.
We're trying to make it to the playoffs. Last year we had a terrible season, 1-9, and we just want to show everyone that we're a much better team than we were last year.
What's your favorite part about the process? The week leading up to a game, the studying, is it the film? Is it the practices, weightlifting? What are your favorite things about the week before a game and the process of getting ready for one?
I would say practice. Like, practice is always hard, but when you're at that game, it makes the game so much easier. When practice is hard all week, Monday through Thursday, when that game comes on Friday, it's easy.
Your teammates have told us that Coach Dota is like the toughest coach that they've ever had. Take us through a practice. What does a Coach Dota's practice look like? What makes it so tough?
He wants full effort every play. You know, some coaches really don't pay attention to that. Like, if you're a good player, you're a good player, but he wants full effort from everyone, no matter what, every single play.
All right, I want to talk about the effort in the school as well. You're a student athlete. We put student in front for a reason. What have been some of your favorite things to study and favorite things to learn about in your Boardman schooling career?
My freshman year, I learned how to do editing, stuff like that. I was a video editor. I did some class outside of school for refereeing, to referee little kids' football games and stuff, and soccer games.
What's it like going into that and being able to referee the youth sports that you do? Has that given you a little bit of a glimpse of what your referees and your games are going through?
Yeah, it's a little bit harder than I thought it would be, but it's fun. It just gives me a glimpse of how I used to be back when I was in Little League and stuff like that.
Makes you think a little bit before arguing with the referee, right? What are some of your favorite parts about just being able to be a part of those youth sports and seeing the little kids that are going to be the future of Boardman athletics?
It's really fun. Like, it's fun seeing how well developed these little kids are. They're more developed than when I was a little kid, and I would just love to see them grow.
Speaking of when you were little, who were some players that you think you looked up to, whether it be in Boardman or whether it be in the national stage? Who were some guys that you watched and you said, man, I want to be like him when I grow up?
I would say 2016 to 2019 Zeke Elliott. My dad said I ran like him, and I would always watch his YouTube highlights and stuff like that to try to be more like him.
And then when you think about real life role models off the football field, people that you look to when you need advice, when you need help, when you need just whatever you need, who do you go to?
I would say my grandpa. Like, he's been a real role model. The advice the man I go to for advice and stuff like that.
What do you think is like the best advice he's given you so far, the biggest nugget that he's given you?
You can do all things with God.
All right, so let me take you through something. You're on the field, you're warming up, you're looking at the crowd. Is there a person that you try to spot? Is there someone that you want to see where they're sitting before you start a game?
I always try to find where my mom and dad is at.
Are they in the same place all the time? Is it easy to find them?
Easy to find them. Very loud. Yeah, just sitting right front and center.
Talk about this student section too. The Boardman student section is probably one of the best in the area. What is it like playing in front of them, especially at home?
It's great. Our student section is a lot better than it was last year. Like, our seniors, they come to every game. I was very shocked at the late game, seeing how full our student section was. Lake is an hour and 15 minutes away, and I saw like all the seniors that I know, even some juniors and some sophomores.
As we're talking to you in your senior season, we got to talk about your future and some of the plans that you have after school. What are some things that you want to do after you graduate high school?
I would love to go to college, and if football doesn't work out, I might just go to a trade.
What career do you have a career path that you think you might want to go into?
Engineer.
We got a lot of engineers on this football team. What drove you to that? What made you want to be an engineer?
My grandpa, he said that I could always make money being an engineer. I'm good at math. You need to be good at math for an engineer. I feel like I can do it easily.
When you're looking at, where you can go, what colleges you can attend, is there like a dream state where if money wasn't an issue and how far away wasn't really an issue and you could just go to this state because it's just where you want to be? Do you have a dream state that you'd want to live in?
I have to say Ohio.
Staying home. I like it. Nothing wrong with that. What about vacations? Family vacations. What's the best one you've been on?
I've been to Las Vegas.
Is there
Las
one
Vegas was the best?
Las Vegas is the best. What happens there, though, stays there. So don't say anything. What's one vacation that you have on your wish list that you want to go to?
I want to go to Hawaii. I heard that it's nice.
Pretty tropical over there in Hawaii. What's your favorite thing about being a football player?
I would say like building new friendships. Like a lot of people that I'm friends with now, I might have never been friends with if I never played football.
Talk about what you do in your free time too. When you're not playing football and you don't have schoolwork to do and you get that free time that I'm sure you don't get too often. What do you do?
Sometimes I go to the field to work on my football skills, or I hang out with some of my football friends.
All right, and then before we let you go, one last question for you: what's the best way to celebrate a post-game victory? What's the go-to celebration?
We go to Cane's and we just eat and fill our stomachs.
Yes. Nothing says victory like Cane's chicken fingers. Gotta love it. Before we let you go, we do this with every player profile. We want to give you the chance to kind of thank your support system, the people that have been there for you through the years. Want to give you the chance to do that as well, and turn the limelight on to the people in your life.
I want to thank my mom, my dad, my grandpa, Coach daughter. He's pushed us a lot, pushed me to become a better player that I am today.
All right, Keith, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck the rest of your senior year. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you.
Keith Smith from Boardman. You're going to see the 2-1 Spartans in action in Week 4, along with a bunch of other teams. Let's dive into Week 4. Let's see what's going on. Let's pop in the Ysn scoreboard again, presented by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. Let's go down to the bottom and toggle dates and get back to today's scoreboard. Friday the 13th. Ooh. Anybody feeling that spookiness, man? I feel like October, Friday the 13th would be like peak, but we'll take it. Nothing unlucky happening today yet. Fingers crossed that stays true. Here's what Week 4 looks like. Austintown Fitch going to be traveling on the road to Painesville Riverside. Last week, Fitch's run game was electric. They're going to need it on the road because how do you win on the road? You run the ball. You slow the game down, and you make that crowd have nothing to cheer about. And if Fitch runs anything like they did last week, they're going to do that, and I don't think Riverside will have much to cheer about. Champion and Brookfield, we talked about this game last week. There are two teams that really need a win to go in their win column. So this is going to be a game of kind of desperation, right? You're going to see a lot of plays that are just going to be powered through because we got to have it. This is a got to have it game. And Champion and Brookfield both got pretty close last week. Champion lost by 5 points to Camel, and they're trying to bounce back from that. Speaking of Camel, they have Lowville. They start their MVAC slate. Now, we talked about this. This MVAC Scarlet tier is no joke. And Camel, although they've looked very good, now it's time to put the lessons learned in non-conference to use because it is a tumultuous schedule that is never going to let up on the Red Devils. So, first test is on the road in Lowville for Camel. I'm excited to see how this is going to go. I think we start to learn a lot about Camel as they go on this conference slate. Salem back at home hosting Canton Central Catholic. That'll be a fun one for Salem. Their defense going to have to win the more ball games. Let their offense find identity, right? But their defense played really well last week, only allowing East Liverpool to 7 points. So their defense is going to have to come through again tonight if they want to keep winning. Howland has a chance tonight to kind of prove that they are a new and improved team. They've had a couple of tough losses against two NE8 teams, and now EBC Carrollton comes into Howland, and it's the Tigers' chance to say this is still a different team, and we're gonna get a couple wins on this win-loss column before it's all said and done. So Howland with a big opportunity tonight at home. West Branch and Cheney, West Branch has been on top of the world this season so far. The Cheney Cowboys have a big task to come into Beloit, into West Branch, and try to somehow slow down this offense. And at the same time, I mean, it's a double-pronged thing when you're playing West Branch, because not only do you have to slow down the offense, but you got to have to find ways to find some room against the defense. Not easy. West Branch is playing well on both sides of the ball. They're not one-dimensional at all. They can run, they can pass. Their offense is so hard to defend. Jeremiah Thomas, can't say enough about that kid, what he's doing. So far in his first year as quarterback, Boston Mullenix gives him a good buffer as a run game. So, man, it's going to be tough for Cheney, but they have the size and athleticism to do it. EOAC play starts tonight as Columbiana makes the trip to United. United trying to bounce back and get momentum after that tough loss to Crestview to end out their non-conference slate. Columbiana trying to find momentum in the season as well. SVC play starts tonight as Ursuline hosts Youngstown East. How about this matchup? Lisbon, East Palestine. East Palestine, one of those teams in that turnaround phase. We've been talking about it all week. This is the week. This is the year, I should say, so far, of programs turning the corner, right? East Palestine turned the corner. Boardman turned the corner. Orange turned the corner. So a road test in the conference. East Palestine trying to make it 3-1 in the year. And I think a big reason that they're going to be able to, that they would be able to win tonight if they were able to do it, is going to be Owen Iriaki. I mean, this guy is 2-time All EOAC Offensive Player of the Week so far. So that's 2 wins, and he's been Player of the Week so far in the EOAC for both wins. So if he succeeds and he's rolling, that usually spells a Bulldog victory. So we're going to have to see how this East Palestine team handles conference play. They start on the road. A tough Lisbon team that is trying to regain a little bit of identity as well. They lost a big senior class. So I think the door is open for East Palestine. They can kick it in tonight if they go on the road and beat the Blue Devils. Girard and Struthers, this NEA play, everyone's excited for it. Everybody. I mean, Girard took one on the chin to West Branch, of course. Struthers has been looking really, really good. But NEA play is when how you look meets how you are, right? We learn a lot about teams when they start playing NEA play. And we've seen teams have incredible non-conference starts, struggle in the NEA, and we've seen the opposite too. Teams that play really tough non-conference schedules, maybe go in the NEA play 1-2 or 2-1, and then they run the table in the NEA. So this is going to be a very interesting week, and that's just the first one on the scoreboard. Girard and Struthers. But every NEA matchup this week is very interesting and will be highly watched. I promise you that on the Audible call with myself and Mike Ackelson. Jefferson at home playing Harvey, who we saw last week against Edgewood. This Harvey team, fun to watch. So guaranteed this is going to be a fun game. Speaking of Edgewood, they're at home. They're playing a Hawken. They're trying to bounce back from that tough loss last week. LeBray looks like a consistent team. I came into the start of the season and I said, LeBray, I want consistency from you. You looked good at times last year, a team that could beat almost anybody, and then the next week you were down. This week so far, 3 games. They've all looked really clean, really good. 3 wins, a big win against JFK last week. Can they carry that momentum on the road against Garrettsville Garfield? That's going to be big, right? I don't care how Garrettsville Garfield looked in the first 3 weeks. They're 2-1 with a tough, big loss to Warren JFK and a win that they didn't look super dominant in week 3. But Garrettsville Garfield is still going to be the favorites in that MVAC grade tier until someone proves otherwise. But LeBray has a big chance to prove otherwise tonight as they go on the road into the mighty G-Men's house. They're going to try to get the win. We'll have to see. Garrettsville Garfield can be really shifty when it comes to league play. Aaron Gilbert will have the call as part of the box cast that Garrettsville Garfield puts on. Head coach of the girls basketball team. Does a great job on the broadcasting, Mike. We will have a link to that on the ysnlive.com, by the way. Lakeview and South Range, that's another NEA game that's going to be really, really interesting. Lakeview gave South Range a couple of issues last year in this matchup. Now, South Range still won, but Lakeview got them sweating a little bit. Lakeview comes in only allowing 6 points in 3 games. To say this defense will be tested more than anything that they've been tested so far this year would be an understatement, but that defense has to work for them to win. They can't let South Range score 28, 35, 42 points. They're not going to be able to match South Range score for score. They got to hold the Raiders under 28 if they want a chance. I think the only way Lakeview wins this game, and if we come back Monday and I'm wrong, I'll admit it, because this is all predictions, right? But the only way they're going to win this game, I think, is if South Range is under 28. I think if South Range is 28 or over, it's going to be a Raider victory tonight. And the Raider defense, by the way, is very good. That's another reason why I don't think Lakeview needs to score more than 24. I think they have to keep it under 28 for them to have any chance. And that's going to be tough, too. If South Range even scores 20 or 24, that defense is hard to score on. So Lakeview trying to shock the world, go into the Raiders' house where they've never lost a home conference game. Their only conference game they have lost was on the road at Niles in 2019. So trying to be the first team to go into South Range and get a conference win since the start of the NE8. And wouldn't it be just the storyline if it was Lakeview? Lakeview? The team that for so long just had no chance in the NE8 at all. They were getting beat up every single week. That was only like 2 or 3 years ago that they were just kind of irrelevant in the NE8. Now, wouldn't it be a storyline if they came out this year and they were the first team in NE8 history to go and beat South Range at home? That would be something. That would be something. The Raiders will definitely have something to say about it, of course. But, we're all about storylines here on YSN, and that would be a great one. Liberty and Crestview doing battle. Liberty needs to get on pace. They wanted a fast start. You talked to Coach Simon before the season. He felt like they could have a fast start, but like Liberty, in Liberty fashion, they're going to come into league play with a lot of ground to make up. But also remember, this is a Liberty team that has done it in years past. So don't count the Leopards out of the season just because they've had a tough start to it. They go on the road to Crestview, a team that looked mighty impressive in week 3. Boardman, they're playing home. Maple Heights comes to town to try to keep the Spartans from boasting a 3-1 record. Spartans so far are undefeated at home, so they're going to try to keep that intact as they play host tonight. Louisville going to be hosting Marlington. Louisville so close to being 3-0. They lost their 2 games they've lost by 1 possession each. They're right there. Can they go 2-2 tonight? I think this is a very winnable game with Marlington coming into town. Battle of the Blue Devils, that MVAC Scarlet here, it's good. McDonald looks impressive so far this year, even though they took one on the chin to Clearview last week. They're still, I think right now, just looking at the whole preseason, favorites of the MVAC, but they're going to have to stop the really good running game of Western Reserve tonight. This will be a fun one in Berlin Center. Minnow Ridge goes into Jackson Milton tonight. Another great MVAC matchup. Niles and Hubbard. If Niles plays like they did last week, this is going to be a really good matchup in the NE8. Orange trying to stay undefeated. They're 3-0. They're trying to go 4-0. They'll go to Conneaut tonight and try to douse the Spartans. Same thing with Poland. Trying to go 4-0. They'll go into Canfield trying to win the Battle of 224. Trophy on the line tonight between these two teams. It's a rivalry night in Canfield. We got Pymatuning Valley and their size. They're going to go up against Rootstown. Pymatuning Valley is such a hard team to prepare for because you just can't simulate the size they have on their line in practice. Newton Falls playing host to Southeast tonight inside the MVAC Gray Tier. Another MVAC Scarlet Tier game as Springfield goes to Waterloo. Springfield and the Tigers just, 3 wins away from giving Coach Guerrero the all-time winningest head coach in Springfield football history. They're trying to get 1 win closer to that tonight. Wyndham going to be playing a host to Tuskegee Central Catholic. This team really struggled against Lowville last week, so I think Wyndham is going to open the Bombay doors and just let it rip tonight. Orange AFK trying to bounce back from the loss last week as they will go into Grand Valley and face the Mustangs. Wellsville traveling to Southern Local in the EOAC. We have West Geauga. They're making the trip to Ashtabula County to take on the Dragons. Beaver will be at home hosting Hopewell. Archbishop Hoban makes the trip to Akron East tonight. Cardinal Mooney going to be on the road against Garraway, as that Mooney schedule never gets any easier. They're trying to get their first win of the year. Mohawk will be going to Elwood City. And then last but not least, Edison will be at Oak Glen tonight. Let's see what's happening tomorrow. And then after that, we'll go into what announcers will be where and what games will be covered on the network for both days. So tomorrow, 3 football games on tap for you. Perry going to be on the road against Cleveland Central Catholic. Steubenville Central Catholic will be at St. John's. Valley Christian hosting Latonia tomorrow. For football, for volleyball, we have Wyndham hosting Rootstown. West Branch hosting Middle Ridge. Heartland Christian hosting Badger. Columbiana hosting Latonia. Cheney hosting, what is that, Bedford. Wyndham going to be hosting LeBray, and that's going to be a tri-match because LeBray will also be playing I'm trying to remember it. Oh, LeBray will also be playing Rootstown there. So it'll be Wyndham, Rootstown, LeBray, and Rootstown Wyndham tomorrow in that tri-match. Boardman will be going to Salem tomorrow. Minerva will be going to United. Cognac going to Middlefield Cardinal. Wellsville hosting Madonna. Liberty goes to Springfield. And Hoban will be taking on Highland on the road. In boys soccer tomorrow, Columbiana hosting Heartland Christian. Brookfield will be at home against Pymaginning Valley. Louisville will be hosting Stone Monroe Falls. Hoban goes on the road to CVCA. Fitch will be playing at Maslin Perry. Copley is going to be playing host to Howland. United goes to Badger tomorrow. Niles will be going to West Branch. Pymaginning Valley going to Brookfield tomorrow. Garrettsville Garfield hosting Berkshire. Southeast will be at home against Akron Springfield. Lakeview will be at home against Ursuline, and then Cardinal Mooney will be traveling to Beechwood. On the girls' side, Brookfield hosts Pie Valley. Hoban will be hosting Highland. Poland hosts Canfield. Girard goes to Fitch. Howland hosts Uniontown Lake. West Branch will host Niles. Salem and Girard playing. East Liverpool goes to Cambridge. Lakeside goes to Grand Valley. LeBray goes to Crestview. Newton Falls goes to Crestwood. Waterloo goes to Barberton. And then last but not least, it is going to be Beaver, going to be at Ambrose tomorrow in girls soccer. So with that being said, let's go back to Friday real quick and go over the games that will be broadcasted tonight on ysnlive.com. And who will be out there with the call. All right, so your games tonight. We will have Champion and Brookfield covered by CJ Bako. We have Camel and Lowville. Eric Hughes will be on the call there. Matt Lowry and Jared Niederheiser will be on the call for Salem. The voice of the Quakers still is going strong. Anthony Malone will be at Howland for their matchup with Carrollton. The school will be taking care of West Branch and Cheney. We will link that on ysnlive.com, but it will not be a YSN broadcast. Derek Rhodes will be at United for their matchup with Columbiana. Tim Corso has you covered in Ursuline at Stanball Stadium for their matchup with East. Tim Figley going to be traveling to Lisbon with East Palestine. Matt Marr and Tom Otto going to be on the call for Gerard Struthers. We have Scott Demos on the call for Jefferson and Harvey. Larry Jennings going to be in Edgewood for their matchup with Hawken. The school will be covering Garfield and LeBray. Like I said, we'll have a link to that one as well on ysnlive.com/live. DJ Oakley and Sam Bellino going to be calling Lakeview and South Range. Sam Bellino, the former head coach of Lakeview, so he might have some really good insights tonight into what that program is doing. Make sure to tune into that broadcast. Tony Perazio and Nick Van Pelt going to be covering Crestview and Liberty. We have Don Mashula and Donnie Riccatelli on the call for Boardman against Maple Heights. Rob Johnston has you covered for Louisville and Marlington. Chris Galucci and Billy Capabianca have you covered for Western Reserve hosting McDonald. Jackson Milton and Middle Ridge being covered by Chris Ziegler. Zach Svensson going to be there for Hubbard and Niles. Wow TV will have you covered for Conneaut and Orange. Let's see. Matt Romeo will be there for Poland and Canfield. Chad Paul has you covered for Pymatuning Valley and Rootstown. Dakota Kotzel will have you covered for Brookfield at Newton Falls. Ty Bartell going to be traveling to Waterloo for their matchup with Springfield. The Wyndham School will be taking care of their matchup with Tuscarawas Central Christian. Tyler Hartz has you covered for Grand Valley and Warren JFK. Larry Scragg making the trip to Southern Local for Wellsville and Southern. Sam Torres will have you covered for Lakeside and West Geauga. Noah Doty has you covered for Hopewell and Beaver. He'll be with CJ Schroeds on that call. That's a 7:30 kickoff. And then that will be it for our coverage tonight. And tomorrow, for volleyball, I will have you covered for Middle Ridge at West Branch. Football, we'll have Sam Torres on the call for St. John and Steubenville Central Catholic. Noah Doty will have you covered for Latonia at Valley Christian. Then we will have field hockey from Orange. School will have you covered there. Don't forget the Spartan Invitational will be broadcasted tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. Our broadcast will be all day there for the Spartan Invitational tomorrow, cross country. We have previewed that pretty well with our Spartan player profiles from the cross country team. We have 6 of them, 3 boys, 3 girls. So make sure to go check those out in preparation for the Spartan Invitational. And make sure to check out our broadcast of it all day. Girls soccer, we have Rob Johnson. He'll have you covered for Louisville girls soccer against Stowe Monroe Falls. And that is your broadcast schedule between now and our next show, which will be Monday. Which means we have come to the end of the show. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point on ysnlive.com. We appreciate your viewership. We also appreciate the sponsorship from Greenwood Chevrolet. We shout them out like we do every day and tell you that if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, make sure to head on down to Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They will cover you better than anybody. They will go the extra mile for you. We will be back on Monday from 1 to 2 to recap the weekend action. Until then, I'm Anthony Hartwig. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy week 4 a little bit later on tonight. We will see you on Monday.